Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Apostle
Hi,
Coalition. What is up?
how
Ryan
you
and
doing?
MJ. How's
What's
all
up?
y'all doing? Cool, cool. We're back finally. Jeez. Let's
Yeah,
see
we
what's up
kind of
out
like
there.
threw a little curveball in there this week.
Yeah, I had some things to do and get done, so I apologize. It was mainly my fault. I'm sorry. Don't hate me.
Again, this
Yeah,
you
Ryan hates
not
me only a
being
little bit.
perfect, you not being perfect, it's unsettling for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see, I'm in trouble already, guys. I'm going to the back room with with Ryan and Ryan only. the
Yes, we're gonna have a talking to, a good come to Jesus moment.
Oh yeah, come to Jesus. Jeez. Oh hey, forgot the live was now. What's up, man? Johnny.
We switched it up on you guys. Haha.
Look at trees. Hello. Is look at trees on right now? I know that was a little while ago. Dan, what's up, Dan, my man? And we have a few more people on here. Oh, Jonathan, I'm pretty good. What you been up to? I haven't even been on Discord in a bit either. I haven't been keeping up on that yet in a while.
Rude.
Yeah, I was just in a meeting, so I was a couple minutes late for
We
the
didn't
protest
notice.
this year.
No,
Yeah.
that's very important that you handle that business.
Yeah.
Be free, 2024, September 13th.
Yes, sir. They were giving me instructions and stuff, and because I'm gonna speak at the protest, and um, I'm supposed to promote the protest on my TikTok and stuff. So they were just giving me some pointers, and um, it's gonna be really good this year. It's gonna be very busy too, because it's at the White House, obviously, but because the elections are on the corner, it's gonna be a lot more busier, like more
Oh,
traffic and more attention on us, which is kind of scary. But luckily, I'm not the main speaker. So the main speaker is this woman, and so all the eyes are gonna be on her. So I feel nervous for her, but it is what it is.
it's going to be excellent.
What are we
You're
talking
going
about
to
today,
do
Ryan?
fine. You're going to do fine. We're talking about dying and rising gods, the dying and rising myth. I think the conversation should be, what was its purpose? What did it represent? Why was it so intertwined into so many different cultures? It
Yeah.
must have been significant. I think that's the conversation I would like to have.
Yes.
Yes,
I
thank you.
yes. I should have grabbed a beer or something, or some wine or something for tonight.
Go grab
Cause
it. I had a beer and I drank a beer. So
really,
I did before the show.
did you just say you had a beer and you drank a beer?
Well, I just meant that I had one and then that same one I drank that one.
Okay.
I was doing I was doing a Semitic parallelism, like how they do it in the Bible where they do like the doubles. That's what I was doing.
Okay. Okay.
Taking the trick
Um.
out of their book.
Right. I had a um. I had a outline of that topic, and I don't know where the freak it is, bro. I can't find it, but whatever.
Bro.
This is all about talk, right? We're gonna talk the dying and rising of gods. First of
Mhm.
all, first of all,
First.
anybody out there believe in other gods? Anybody a polytheist?
Yeah, what is I think Ex Witnesses Awake is kind of agnostic, I believe. Dan
Agnostic?
D, are you atheist? Are you agnostic atheist?
Yeah,
But I don't know what anybody else is.
I'm a mix of things.
Yeah, you kind of said you're on that agnostic path, right?
Yeah, I started off as fully monotheist when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mhm.
Um, and then I became a monotheist, but in a sense where it was Jesus who was God instead of Big J. And then from there, I just went full atheist for like a couple months because I just got tired of all the confusion. And then
Mhm.
I decided to go back into it, but more on the agnostic side of things. And it wasn't until I started reading manuscripts and just looking stuff up in
Mm.
the internet and reading the Bible in general where I found out there were more gods, and I read the Psalms, and it just intrigued me. So then I became a polytheist, and I guess you can say I'm an agnostic polytheist because I want to believe in it. I just can't prove it because I know the Bible has a lot of mistakes. That's what's holding me back from being like fully indoctrinated, I guess you can say. But yes, I love that I get to do this with you though.
You're on a path. You're on a journey right now.
I'm a yes, this journey has I'm on training wheels right now. Okay.
I feel
And
that.
the problem about this is it's not a father figure behind me that's just watching me. It's like you, but like farther down and just helping me out, which I am grateful for. But learning on my own is not easy. And I think I'm going to be on these training wheels for a very long time. But that's why we're doing this because we're here to talk and we're here to chat and come together. But regardless, I'm going to keep looking up for my freaking notes that I can't find. I
Person
also,
still haven't found.
I know, geez, I also want to show a video later, but that's if
Oh,
I'm
we have video.
that's if I'm feeling it. Yeah, I have a video because on my channel I have
Oh, that's
a,
right. You said you told me before that video. Okay, okay.
yeah. And I don't know why, for some reason, the whole time I was thinking I'm gonna be doing this on my channel. That's where my head has been. It's been all over the place. That's why I said I was gonna do a video. It's just to unveil what's to come on my channel.
There is like a dual live stream option on YouTube
Hmm.
and StreamYard, but you have to do it beforehand.
Oh, okay. I had I was working on wow, what's wrong with my throat? Getting a subscription. Sorry, with Ecamm Live. I don't know if you've heard of Ecamm Live.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it's like a little cheaper than StreamYard because I pay for StreamYard. And I was into it. Then I got the 14-day trial, but it's kind of complicated, and just to put videos is like a headache. So I was like, screw that noise. I'm just gonna stick to StreamYard. And it had like a I think it was you that I told. It has like a 10 to 15 second little like stream delay.
Oh, right.
Like, oh no, it was more than that. It had to at least be like 30 seconds. It was that bad. And
Wow.
yeah, and that's like if I'm gonna show somebody, like my wife, for example, and she'll be like 30 to 40 seconds behind, and it was a mess.
Mm-mm. I don't like that.
Okay, Dan's an atheist. I'm still waiting for evidence. What kind of evidence are you looking into though? Like, do you want a revealing, what's that called? Uh, I don't know,
What,
like an
like
awake,
when Jesus appeared to Paul?
right? Or like,
Psychosis. He has a spiritual break.
I know, man. Or like if when Jesus walked through the door and like shocked all the disciples, like you want some type of spirit to walk
Yes.
in.
Yeah. Hey, that might be. I mean, honestly, for me, it would basically take that. Like, I need a God to like move something with their hand and show that to me.
It's
That would be
magical
proof.
powers.
Yeah.
I will be completely honest with you guys. Like my I've been lately watching a lot of scary movies, like a lot, and I know that the whole teaching that the witnesses say is that demons and stuff can attach themselves to objects and movies, and that I don't believe in that, but there's still
That
some
doesn't
sense of
even
like
make sense.
I know it doesn't, but there's still some sense where it's like I want to watch it to see if it's like at least somewhat true, and then like to see if I do get scared and I see something, bro. It's been like 2 months. I have not. I've seen all the freaking Conjuring movies. I've seen everything,
Right.
and it's like I'm sleeping like sound like peacefully. Like I'm just
Mhm.
chill. But I have, the other day I saw like this shadow move, and I still can't figure out what it was. And then the other day I was watching a video on TikTok of this mom who got out of bed, and because she heard her daughter crying, baby, but the baby is literally like at the end of her bed in her crib. But she heard the baby crying, so she got up and she's like, "Okay, what the freak was that?" Because my daughter's obviously sleeping. She went out of bed and heard the screaming and the crying more, but in the living room. So she just leaves the bedroom. Screaming continues. She freaks out. She runs right back into bed. And the next thing that happens is I hear a baby screaming and crying downstairs in my kitchen. And I live in a loft, so it's like I can look over to the kitchen and see what's down there. Nobody is there. And the baby screaming and crying wasn't my son, because that night I had waken up because my son was coughing, so I had to coddle him back to bed. So he was on my lap when I was watching this video. So there's no way that it was him who was crying. And it still to this day freaks me out. It's like
Was it?
there's nobody downstairs. Like, so where would the scream come from?
Don't know.
So ever since that day, it's like I just want to keep looking into this stuff, and it keeps me from not being an atheist, because it's like I don't know if it's maybe it really is something, or if it's my mind playing tricks on me. It can't be, because I know I was fully awake. I was very conscious. I wasn't tired at all. So I don't know, but if the proof you need, Dan, is like for someone to show up at your house and scare the crap out of you, just let me know. I'll wear a ski mask. I'll just jump out there. I'll throw some things, throw some cups, throw some silverware, freak the hell out of you, and then just bounce and run. Because
Why is it like the demons are always just a voice or something move like the door just moving? So like what why is it never like grabbing your arm and throwing you up against a wall or stabbing you with a knife? It's just the things that I feel like can just play tricks on you. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
I thought I've heard things before. I mean, I'm not saying that you're hearing things, but
Um, well, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that. I think demons just like to have fun and play with your mind too. Because you're right. I haven't really heard of anybody being physically touched or anything other than movies. But a little off track, that reminds me of people who give testimonies of being dragged to hell, seeing the devil or seeing God or seeing
oh,
Jesus.
like when
That
people
stuff
like
is
half
hard for
die or whatever.
Yeah, that stuff is hard for me to believe. And it's because, let's say God, right? You're God. You want everyone to believe in you. That's the whole point, to have faith, right? How are you now allowing someone to then force believe you, or to force believe in you? You're forcing some. That's the whole. Then it's at that point, there's no point in having faith, right?
Yeah,
So why would he allow people to
true.
have these visions and like, I mean, I don't get that. I know in the Bible there's people that have seen visions or have been given visions, but then again, in the Bible, those are times that like shit was really happening. Like the Moses thing, Jesus walking on water, like all those things happened, right? So it's like it's expected, but nowadays it doesn't happen anymore. So you would expect faith to be stronger. Like you have to have a stronger faith to have to believe in God. Why would God allow
Or
you to believe in Him if the devil's real. Like the devil's alive. The devil doesn't want to be known. It's why he pretends to be God. He doesn't want people to know who he is. It just doesn't add up to me. People giving testimonies and talking about seeing God, it doesn't add up to me. Like what?
I mean, I think that everybody who believes in hell would see it from their own religion's perspective. If whatever their
Mm,
religious belief system is, their framework, that's probably what they would experience. I have no idea what an atheist it ex, would experience.
hmm. Um, but I give me one second. Sorry, I'm just texting somebody.
No, you're fine. Dan D says that wouldn't be wise. My kitties hate strangers, but since they saw you and Ryan on TV, they would probably welcome you. Oh, thanks, Dan D. Meow.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah,
So
I have no faith anymore.
what was it that what was the info that you brought up to that you want to put onto the table?
Oh, well, really, in the Swana region, there is like the ancient Near East is what they call it, like usually in old books, but the Swana region is the more apt word. And the dying and rising theme has existed for thousands upon thousands of years. And I'm very curious as to why Christians, after looking at all the evidence, and we can talk about what the evidence is, because everyone has different opinion of what evidence is, I guess.
Hmm.
How can you deny the similarity of these themes and the obvious importance of it if the transmission has went through so many different cultures in this area? How do you account for that? Why do you just turn your nose up at it?
Well, I mean,
That's what I don't get.
well, people have to cling to something, right? That that's it's a sense of
So you
living.
so you feel like that to them that's almost like it could crack their armor to accept that because they think that Jesus is this spectacular perfect little bubble and all their stories are original, right? So there's no way that anything involving his stories, if you want to call them that, myths or what have
Hmm.
you, have anything to do with other cultures that have used the same idea. Maybe it's adapted, whatnot, but when you see the similarity, that could possibly just shatter your faith. I But that just feels like you've been in a bubble too long and
Hmm.
you don't appreciate the other cultures.
I mean, sometimes people just want to be stuck in the Bible,
They want
and
to be in that bubble.
and it's. I mean, if you think about a rumor, right? It always starts somewhere and it escalates and it changes, but the main story behind it is still intact in a way. And a lot of people are afraid to find out what the real truth is. And I think that's the problem. Because you're talking about something that has shaped you as a person, something, a belief that has shaped you. I mean, as a witness or ex witness, or when I was a witness, coming out of that faith was hard because that's my livelihood. That's like everything for me. So you're coming out of something that's been taught for the rest of your life to then escape it, and it's why so many people go crazy or commit suicide. Like these are things that shape you as a person and you become that person. When you go to college and you study, I don't know, medicine, you're going to want to get out of that and become that person, right? You're studying for that. If you somehow, I don't know, like okay, for me, I studied laser electro optics technology in college, and I ended up working at McDonald's when I left. And then I felt this weird detachment. I don't know who I was. Like I don't know what was going on, and I felt lost. So I felt like I had to cling to that and then study that again and become that person who studies laser optics. So it you people tend to lose themselves, and if anything is said on the contrary, it's gonna throw you off. So
Mhm.
you just have to have, I guess this is where the whole faith comes in again. You have to have faith in other things, because if you don't, then you're just stuck to one faith for the rest of your life. And it's funny because the organization preaches to be the truth, but say you were born in freaking China, you would adapt to the gods in China to be the one truth. And they will tell you it's the truth. And then if you come across witnesses and who they represent, you're going to be like, well, that's not true. So it's like the question should be, what is the truth? Like, what is really the canon? Because
Good
there are,
luck.
like, it's like you said, there are so many stories that,
Yeah, there's not a truth, unfortunately, or fortunately.
and that's where I was coming from with rumors. Like, there could be a truth, there could be a source that all this stems from.
Mm.
And that's where Dan comes into the conversation and says, that's just bullcrap. Because I don't believe in any of that. As an ex atheist, I would agree with how difficult it is to understand something and cling to it when you don't have proof. And that's kind of where, okay, so what if the devil is real? What if that is his intention? To make you think this is just bullcrap so that you can become an atheist. That's what how I ended up becoming somewhat of a believer. Because I thought of that. I was like, okay, what if I'm just being pushed to become an atheist? Because all this doesn't make sense. There's no proof. Freaking a guy walking on water claiming to be the son of God. Like, that just sounds stupid. Like a guy splitting the sea doesn't make sense. Demons haven't bothered me. Like, why was with all these people on YouTube saying that demons have tempted them and tortured them? Yet I don't. It's hard to believe. Seeing is believing, right?
Well, that's their safety mechanism, right? That's how they keep you in. That's a fail safe to make you question yourself. Is that the Satan they taught me about, who misleads people, roaring like prowling like a lion, ready to strike you at night? Rawr.
Yeah. I mean, then you come into like the whole Greek mythology and all these different types of ancient mythology. Like, these are all stories that were given to you or taught to you as a child, and you gotta believe it. Truth is opposite. Yeah, it is.
Everything is opposite.
That's what happened to me when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's literally what helped me become a YouTuber, was because, like, if you really think about everything that you're being taught has a is completely flipped. Like, Jesus is Michael the Archangel. No, he's not. He's a god. um, like, Stephen Lett is skinny. No, but he's fat in this video. Like, there's always the opposite of whatever. Um, what?
It to me, it's every accusation is a confession. That's how I feel nowadays when it comes from people who are existing in a hierarchy that are like in the upper echelon, the cream of the crop. I feel like every time they're pointing the finger, then that's where we actually need to look because, yeah, it's practically the opposite, really. It's just
Yeah.
the opposite. They're showing us their hand. They're playing the old switcheroo. When they're pointing the finger and saying that's the bad guy, then it's probably them.
Have you ever thought of maybe the gods mentioned in the Bible were just people?
I have. And there's some stories that do make me wonder, like Samson's story,
Mm-hmm.
very similar to other kind of myths in a sense. And there's also a hidden like pun in there that a lot of people miss. I forget it now. I'd have to whatever, but it's actually really cool, and it's about the I think the Bear solar system, whichever one that or not so excuse me, constellation. But there's a little yeah, a colloquialism that we miss that's in the Hebrew, and it does kind of remind me of a God story now kind of demythologized to make it for a man. And I
Yeah.
think there's possibility there's other stories just like that in the Bible.
Yeah, and then some um, parts of the world would believe Samson was a god, and some could portray him as just a man who was giving godly abilities. So I would understand if that's what how the Bible was made, to interpret the gods of the Bible as just people with extraordinary abilities.
Oh, pardon.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
Oh, it's just water. It is
Ah.
really just it honestly is just water.
But yeah, when you think of like that's how I thought about when hearing that word gods, because you would think the organization, the Jehovah's Witnesses, like the leaders in charge, you would see them as gods because they run things, they tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and they're on the rise, but they seem to be falling. But yet, when they do fall, there are still going to be people who are going to cling to them,
Mhm.
and it's because it's a lifestyle. People are afraid to spread their wings. They're afraid of change.
Move on. Start
And
fresh.
I could see the governing body maybe being imprisoned, and the faith maybe getting stronger because of the whole persecution teaching of them being the truth. That could be the biggest, like, and it won't even be a wake up call because that's probably going to be a slap to the face to the apostates, to the XJW community, I think, if people decide to still cling to them even though they're imprisoned or the whole watchtower has fallen. And even if it does fall, there's still going to be one idiot that's going to come out and start a whole nother organization.
Yeah, another sect, bro. They've got to go somewhere. They're not just going to turn atheists. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, for some it might be very freeing. For some it will be very frightening. So,
And the thing is, that's why I think the whole protest this year that's going to happen is really important, because it's not about. See, a lot of people think that the XJW community is just all about talking about their doctrines and debugging them and whatnot, but it's a little more to that. It's like the CSA cases, it's the two witness rule, it's things that are being allowed that shouldn't be allowed, that are illegal, especially the freedom of religion aspect of it, financial transparency, like all the money that they're taking and keeping without proof of it, of use, and it's more of the more deeper on that side of things. But yeah, I mean, I would consider the organization as a godhead, one that has risen and will fall one of these days.
I mean, everything eventually falls or at least changes and adapts somehow, rearranges itself. It's
Yeah,
just evolution. All these ancient myths just evolved over time throughout different cultures.
yeah, it is. It has. Sometimes gods are even mixed. In the Bible, especially, like the gods are mixed. Like you would, like Jehovah, Yahweh, mixed in with El. and seen as this one deity. Well, I love how it just says you just posted a video on TikTok.
Really?
My notifications are so behind.
I was gonna say, I haven't. I mean, I did post earlier, but that was like hours ago.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, could you think of any other gods or
Oh
men
yeah,
that you would consider?
there's a few of them. I mean, specifically, even in Canaan, there's Melkart, who's like Phoenician, might maybe even Greek. I don't know. He was the tutelary god of Tyre.
Okay.
There's Eshmun, was also Phoenician and I think possibly Greek, and
Mm.
also Assyrian. Tammuz, Dumuzi, we all know that one. That one's from the Bible and from Mesopotamia. Like, how can you not know it? I mean, I don't, not saying I know all the stories, but you've heard the name Tammuz from the Bible because we always,
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, I had a brain for a second.
well, when
Okay.
is it Jeremiah or Zechariah? Jeremiah, when they're crying in the temple for Tammuz, because that's Tammuz dies, and Anna goes to get him, and then all is well. But that's, it reflects the cycle of the dying and the rising god, where it was probably related to spring and winter, I'm assuming. But some of them were in relation to drought. It wasn't necessarily winter. It was, something natural, a natural cycle that happens over and
It's
over,
the changing of
cyclical.
seasons. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. There's something that happens wherever they, their seasons, how they run, that would just naturally be reflected in their myths. Um, who
And
else?
this stems from Mesopotamian mythology, correct?
Um, Actually, that's a really good question. I think how do you know how far back Osiris goes?
Um, Egyptian
Yeah, but I don't
or
know.
I
Actually,
don't know. It has to be
does
farther
anybody
back.
know? So I'm gonna say that it's either going to be like Mesopotamia or like Egypt. But yeah, it's in that region. I believe that theme begins. But I'm not familiar with indigenous cultures here in Turtle Island or America, whatever you choose to call it. So they might have a possibly a dying and rising. I'm not even sure. Like, bro, there's so much I don't know. I'm literally just focusing on one particular area because the association of the Bible and trying to correct some, mistruths. Dan, you are too generous. Like, seriously, dude.
Um,
That's so sweet. You're so
yeah,
sweet.
and then so you have Osiris, right?
She's
From
literally right.
Egyptian mythology. You have Baal from the Canaan mythology, Canaanite mythology. Baal was one of the actually the more important ones
Yes, yes.
because he
He was a
symbolized,
baller.
huh?
You see what I
Yeah,
did
he.
there? I'm sorry, people.
I didn't. I mean, the story of Baal, like it intrigued me because you have rituals, right, where some may consider demonic, but there are also times of that time where people would make rituals to either speak to the dead or to
Yeah, yeah,
resurrect
yeah.
the dead. That was for pure intention.
Well, there
And
were
if
cults of the dead, but they were more to communicate. Like, it was more, I think, of just a lot of times, of course, there was, magic. Like, I'm not saying that didn't exist. But for a lot of these, like, specific cultures, communicating with the dead was really just to get their blessings for things,
yeah,
Kind of similar to what, like really, in my opinion, like when they demythologized all the gods, if you look at like Catholicism and like their system, it's really like the same system of hierarchy. It's just knocked down a peg, right? Instead of like having a bunch of gods, so more of a like triangle with a flat top, triceratops.
Hmm.
Dice, what are they freaking called? I can't remember what but instead of that system, now they just made it more into a triangle, but the gods became angels, and then humans get risen up to this sainthood, and it's all just so similar, just different, just adapted.
Yeah, like a lot of these rituals were, like I had said, about for pure intentions and for positivity, and like the whole Baal story where he was resurrected to fertilize the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah, he was a god of storms, war, but fertility as well. So he would bring the rains. He was in control of the rainy season. And when he was killed by Mot, the god of death, so they
Moth,
fought
yeah.
each other, and he goes down into the mouth of Mot, into the belly,
Swallowed by
basically.
him, yeah.
Yeah, basically down into the underworld, and it's his sister who, and this is also, so there's also some other themes that we can talk about. So his sister Anat, who is the goddess of war and of hunting, she goes up to Mot and she's like, where's my effing brother? And they're
Hmm.
basically like husband and wife, but they call each like brother, sister, whatever. And technically they are brother sister because their father El. So I mean, it's, again, it's all a little bit flexible, more fluid than what we realize.
Hmm.
But she fights Molt, and she winnows him, she grinds him down, and she basically, like, the dust of his body, she grinds him up into nothing and then scatters that onto the fields. And that almost signifies what you would do in time of planting. And after she kind of commits that ritual, after she does all the things, ticks all the boxes,
Hmm.
Baal is able to come back, like he resurrects. And then El realizes that the wadis are running full with rain, like the oil is just coming down, the dew from heaven, and the cycle is complete and all is well again.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a very beautiful cycle. If you all have never read it, you really should. Um, if you're not heard about all the gods, it might be a little bit hard to understand, but you'll get the gist.
Yeah, and there's yeah, and this would basically prove, in a sense, that gods existed because all of the rituals and witchcraft all originated from these fallen angels or fallen gods, and it's henceforth why it's put in the Bible as a restriction because it actually happened. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't a thing,
Like, you're
correct?
saying they put it in there because they saw other people performing these acts, so they're writing their,
Yeah, but
I
and
can't
this is
remember
why
what.
I had when you brought up Samson, it's like, okay, so how are these stories even retracted? How where did they come from? If it was, say, gods in a realm doing these things, how can people visually see these things happening to then talk about them? I mean, that would also further prove that these were gods that also dwelled with people. It was either that or it was actual people who were considered gods. And these stories were, I guess, I don't know, help me out here.
No one, I
Like,
mean, you don't know. We just don't know. Some people think there's a possibility that Yahweh was just a man, a
I
famous
heard,
man,
yeah,
a
right.
legendary man, like the Bible talks about, legendary man who just
Hmm.
after dying got elevated up to God status. I mean, we've seen that happen before in other writing where men are just made into gods, and freaking in Rome, I think they even used to do that ritualistically. They would to just you pay enough money, you get turned into a god. I mean, might not be like that easy, but you catch my drift. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but who knows? Who knows why these stories picked up? They must have been popular for some reason. And why were they popular? Probably because they played on the same themes. They touched
Mm-hmm.
on these same little tidbits of information that everybody recognized that was important, and that's why they stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I'm not sure if I know of any that were like had songs or anything like that, like oral. So, we don't know exactly how accurate any of it is, but it,
Yeah.
we'll never have a correct answer.
I mean, I know that especially in Egypt, a lot of people did these things, like you had mentioned earlier. I'm not sure if you did. You probably did, but it was to gain access to the God's power of healing, uh, and
Oh, what,
protection.
talking to the dead and stuff?
Yeah, and I know in
Yeah.
Egypt that happened a lot, and they called that Heka. And it was just a practice that they did a lot in order to gain something out of it. And it's crazy to me how all of these things happened in the past, but why isn't it not happening today? Like, where was the stopping point? You people would say. I mean, I know when I was doing this, when Jesus died, like everything that happened before his time also died. But then you have people like Paul or Saul who received a calling, right? That happened after Jesus. And then, so it's like, but then it's also stopped because we're in the 21st century. Nothing is happening. That's where I come from with the whole atheist not believing in all this, because it's like, why would it stop? And if it was always about faith or always about belief, why is it that now we have to believe so hard? Why do we have to have so much faith now?
Right. Where's the communication like we were told they were getting back in the day? And when you really think about, like, I've had that question. And then when I realized that, okay, the gap between the last book of the Hebrew Bible and then like the first book, if you want to, or epistles or whatever of Paul in the New Testament, like the huge gap between, and then you realize all the other literature that was being written during that time where we're being told, like, God's incommunicado, right? Until Jesus all of a sudden.
Mm,
So who's to say that all that writing that was happening elsewhere, all the like esoteric stuff coming out of Jewish thought and whatnot, is that the right stuff? And we didn't get it. That was just thrown away,
mm-hmm.
cut off. So
Yeah.
who's to say? And then again, like, then you get to the New Testament. We've talked about all the freaking stuff that wasn't included in there. And I will stand on business when it comes to the canonization of the Bible being that problem. Like, it really is a problem because it just kind of stopped people from thinking and expanding beyond that bubble that they've been put in. Sorry, I said a lot there, but
No, no, that was perfect because it got me thinking. And I know you weren't you the one that told me that the you have like a soft side for the Jewish community?
oh, yeah, I
Was it you that
absolutely
told me
like,
that?
yeah, because Judaism is, I mean, when you think about it, it does have such a long history. I do
Yeah.
think that we have to be like, there's so many words that I'm trying to be a little bit more careful, like when I say them. And like Judaism, like Judea, right,
Mm-hmm.
comes out of Judea, and Judea didn't really come into fruition until after the fall of the North. So like sometimes we tend to think of like Judaism goes back to like 1200 BCE or whatever, but honestly, like that thought from 1200 BCE into like middle of like the Iron Age, that to me is like Canaanite thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's honestly a little unfair to say it's just one specific kind of thought when obviously it's polytheistic thought that's now been chopped down into this monotheistic worldview.
Right.
Christianity, I mean, Christianity is it's another type of Judaism. That's where it's sprung from. I know people hate to admit that, but that's the first Christians were Jewish people. You
What
know what I
is
mean?
their monotheistic belief behind? Because okay, they're monotheists,
Yeah,
and
they are.
so
Well, if they're religious, I mean,
like, what is their
Orthodox,
standpoint?
I mean,
What was that?
Orthodox religious. Because I have rabbi friends who are still religious, but still acknowledge that there was like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't necessarily believe in it, but they still believe in it. I don't know how to explain it. When it's in your thought system for all those years. But anyway, I was just trying to say, like, nobody's a monolith. There we go.
Okay. Um. Yeah. I don't really understand their monotheistic viewpoint because
Me neither.
I mean I do get that
I
they're more
don't
on the
get anybody's.
I know that they stick to the Torah, and therefore are the Gospels even important to them?
No.
Not
I
at all,
mean,
right?
some some obviously educate themselves because they want to know what it says in there, because there is some anti Judaism in the New Testament inherently. Even in my opinion, I think it's like anti Jewish to say New Testament, Old Testament. Like, that shit kind of puts a little sand in my britches, kind of irritates my booty hole.
At the same time that Dan said it.
See, it was kismet. Perfect timing.
I need to talk
Oh,
to pseudo
God.
history, man.
You were at the crucifixion? Don't tell me you were on the pole, bro.
He was the thief.
We're just joking, but that's funny. Oh, damn.
um, I'm because they obviously understand Jesus walked on earth. They know that, but they don't also believe in it. They just think of him as, are they like the Mormons, where they think that Jesus was just
I think they think that he was yeah, kind of just a, which he really probably was, some kind of preacher
why is my ear my
guy,
ear
rebel.
my
He
ears
wa
itchy?
That's probably my mouth.
No,
Um,
you're
um,
fine.
no, but he was a rebel. If you read, oh God, is it the Mishnah? I apologize, it might not be the Mishnah, but they actually think that Jesus was son of um, Joseph ben Pantera, who was a paid soldier for the Romans, I believe. You guys can correct me on that information. So there is a possibility that Jesus' father was also like a soldier type figure. Jesus became a rebel and was totally against the system. He was against the oppression of his people from the Roman Empire, but he was also against the oppression of his people by those in the government, the Sanhedrin, the Pharisees, the like, he didn't get down with the get down. That's why he like said, if you have to break the Sabbath, you break the Sabbath. He was different.
Yeah, right. You would think that if he broke these laws so much, why is I mean, it would kind of explain why the Jewish faith still continues on, because the Jewish faith of then was people who hated Jesus. Not necessarily the Jewish people, but more on the like the Pharisees did. But
And we don't,
I,
and And the thing is we don't necessarily know how much of that is true, because some of that story to me, I feel is a little conflicting, like where the Jewish people are in control and have the ability to make decisions, and then there's this air of no, they have no control. They have to, go to the Roman authorities. Like, well, which is it? And they were really being, there were some Jewish people who were absolutely happy with the Roman influence, right? Like, great googly
Hmm.
movie, they love it because it probably made some changes that they liked, wanted. And then there were some that were just like, F this esh, esh.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's always going to be those people who, again, nobody's a monolith. So who's to say?
I want to be reincarnated as a an opossum or a opossum, and immediately get flattened by a coal truck.
That could
Interesting.
happen.
Yeah, it's possible.
That is possible. That could be likely if you come as an opossum. They're so cute. I love them.
I would love to be a squirrel,
Mm?
just so I can finally understand what's the deal with suicide on the squirrel front side of
Oh,
things. Is
like
it for
why they
fun,
just
or is it because I'm
don't
just
stay?
stupid? You know what I'm
Why don't you
saying?
stay out of the road?
Right.
Why must you do
Um,
the things you do?
chase that nut that I'll never get. Um,
Did
yeah.
you
So
just
we,
say chase that nut
yeah.
I'll never get?
I was hoping like the conversation would continue on.
Sorry, I just splooged on myself.
I was thinking about Ice Age. That's why I'm not. I'm not being necessarily uh realistic here. Um, yeah. When it comes to reincarnation, and I don't want to talk so much about it, but I do. I have had thoughts of it because there's also that saying where you die and you live the life, another life, but it just repeats, right? But you're in a different body, that you're a different person. What are you doing?
It's vitamin C and it splooged out on me.
Hmm.
It dripped everywhere. I'm so sorry.
So like I have had those thoughts before, and it's the only thing that it helps me figure out what deja vu really is. Because yes, scientifically it was explained, but that also doesn't make sense. I don't know if you guys understood what the scientific meaning behind deja vus are, what was said about it, but
What's the matrix?
what is the matrix?
When you have deja vu, it means there's a glitch in the matrix.
Yep. Yeah, like that black cat.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like, dude, that movie is like a metaphor for my life right now. Straight up.
But yeah, you're right. But they say that the brain skips just the same way a heartbeat can skip when you sneeze, right? The
Uh-huh.
brain supposedly skips a beat, and which still doesn't make sense to me because I know how to read the alphabet. I know that to get to B, you got to start with A. But their teaching on the brain skipping would be to go straight to B. Brain then realizes it skipped and it goes back to A. But still doesn't make sense. So therefore, deja vu still don't make sense to me scientifically. So what are they?
Mm. I never even looked into it, so I didn't even know people were studying it.
It's not
I mean,
even.
I would assume people would be, but I had never thought to look into it.
Yeah,
I get that
I
feeling a lot, that deja vu feeling. I know what you mean.
I get it a
It's so
lot.
cool how we all experience it.
Have you
Or
ever sat down and like, or just stood in front of a mirror in a bathroom or something and just paused?
masturbated.
You just pause and just stare, not even at yourself, just stare at either something behind you or next to you. You can look at your hands for a while, whatever. You stare at it for just at least a minute, and somehow you start to drift. I don't know if this happens to any of you, but it happens to me a lot. I just start to drift, And I start literally asking myself, am I alive? And I'll ask myself, is this real? What am I and who am I? And then it starts to like eat at your brain, and then you start like melting inside, and then you're like, wait a minute, this isn't real. Like, it's happened to me a lot. I don't know if I'm the only weird one in this chat room right now. I don't know if it's happened to other people, if it's
Is
common.
it possible, like, a little disassociation just
It's
from, like,
definitely,
you're going through, like, a completely
well,
different brain wave now.
I'm not disassociating in a sense where I'm leaving the physical world and leaving my physical self. I'm just in a state of awareness,
Yeah.
and there's a boundary that I can't pass, but I know that it's there and I can't go past it.
It's
And I don't know if anybody's gone through that, but it's like I have. I don't get like dreams or visions or nightmares when it on this type of stuff, which is also weird. It's like, why do I have it in the real world and not in my subconscious? Like, it's just, that's even weirder. Like, maybe I'm in a dream right now and you are just a figment of my imagination. You know, or I probably drank too much that night or smoked too much. I don't know, but I mean, come on, like, has anybody ever had that thought? I love how we're talking about this instead of the whole point of
dying
this.
and rising, dying and rising gods. Yeah, we
Right.
did. We talked a little bit. Oh, you know what? The one little thing that I didn't mention that I wanted to bring up is how, like, important in some of these myths the female part is, and that female connection at the end of, we talked about before, at the end of Mark, where the women go to the tomb and then the story like
Wait,
ends.
wait, wait. Start all over. I was reading the comment section.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, so in the dying and rising myth, a lot of times either it's the female who goes to, apologies, to get
The
to
Matrix. They're
get the
trying to tell me to
male,
stop.
or she is the one who is down under. And there's other myths where it's the female who is down in the other world, and the earth goes through its drought or whatever cycle. But in Jesus myth, the women come to the tomb. I'm sorry, I don't want to say myth. I apologize. In
No, no,
Jesus
no.
story,
I'm just laughing because it sounded like you said Jesus Smith. But go ahead.
Mr. Jesus Smith. When the women come to the tomb of
Oh
Mr.
my gosh.
Jesus Smith,
Yeah.
they see that the rock has been.
He
Wait, it wasn't
represents.
rolled back, was it? Or was it rolled? It was rolled back and it was empty. But then that's all we get. But then later there's this adaptation of it, and the women are, they're seen mourning, because that's also usually part of that kind of motif, is the woman crying, just like they did in the Bible with Tammuz, and like they do with Baal, how everybody mourned when he went down into the other underworld. And it's probably very similar with, I haven't checked all the other myths, but I feel it would be very similar. Like, that's part of it. It's the sadness that there's going to be a period of going without that, going through that change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like your
NASA
brain.
sending Ryan that round Earth check.
Yeah, right.
I believe the Earth is round.
Yeah, I do too. There's a lot of proof for it.
Yeah,
But
I think there's a lot of proof.
I have a lot of friends on Facebook. I don't have friends, but there are people who follow me on Facebook that believe it. It's flat Earth. I don't say nothing. I stay quiet because maybe I'm the stupid one. Who knows? But then again, I truly believe it's circular, round.
I just don't understand, like, who cares? Like, I'm not sure, like, what changes anything. I really don't. Nobody's really given me, like, the why would people
Okay.
go through all the
Well, there is one thing that tells me it's flat, but it's just one thing. And it doesn't literally tell me that this is concrete evidence. It's just something that does make sense. In the Bible, when Nebuchadnezzar was having the dream of the tree, the the dream was explained to him, right? And it was said that when this tree grows, everyone in the world would be able to see it. Now, if the earth is at a, if it's round and the tree has to stand at one point, right? And then the world is just circular, right? How can people down here see the tree? But if it was flat, then everyone can see the tree. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But then again, that's where I also tell myself I'm wrong because I'm pretty sure at that time, I mean, continents move, right? Land moves all the time. Tectonic plates play a role, earthquakes, and all that stuff. Everything wasn't so separated as it is now. So maybe the whole world was just not that many people. Everyone was pretty much in the same area. So that was kind of
yeah.
what that means.
They
Like
didn't
that
realize
everyone would
how
see the
big
tree.
the Earth was at the time.
At the time, they didn't know how big the Earth was neither. And, there's always an answer to everything. But that would be the only thing that would make sense to me, but it also wouldn't. It's just weird.
Well, this is what the ancient Hebrews and Canaan. I'm guessing Canaanites as well. Yes, actually, yes, it is. Sorry, used to believe that the Earth was flat with a domed. And I really think that's where people are getting it from. But
Mm.
I still don't understand the incentive for people to lie to us about.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like,
Why? What's the
explain it to
point?
me like I'm 5. What's the point? Earth flat or round? I don't
Then
see why
again,
I give a fuck.
then
Sorry.
again, if you have people that claim to have gone to the moon, they're gonna gain fame and be rich. That could be the motive.
I see what you're saying. Okay. But really, it's just
But then again, I mean, you also have people
too
who
much
have never
work.
gone to the center of the earth, yet they can tell you that there's an inner and outer core and a mantle.
True.
So you know what I'm saying?
But but those, I'm assuming those must come from a lot of like testing and theories and this stuff that I just don't
How can
understand.
you tell how hot the center of the earth is?
They have things to
I
figure
mean,
that
I
out.
guess if you can tell how hot the sun is, but it's just
I'm just
there's a
not
lot of
that
questions.
smart. But you know what? But they are there. Those are you should ask those questions, and then you should try to find the answer instead of always having something force fed to us. Now, of course, you're going to read someone's opinion, but if you know how to look for researched, like journaled opinions, then likely you're going to find, I think, more empirical evidence, like proof versus just somebody's opinion. I
Mm.
want tacos now as well, Dan. Damn it.
I haven't eaten, bro. I need to eat. Oh my gosh.
Same, 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 same.
There
Well,
was
that's
one thing.
why I had salad, but I want more than salad.
There was one thing I wanted to talk about Tammuz, right?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So, but they would people would have a ritual they would celebrate each year, or not really celebrate, but just have a a commemoration of his death, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think there are still people today that are doing that? Would there
Wow,
be?
that's a really good question. I don't know. To
Because I
that
mean, we're talking
specific
about
God.
yeah, but
I mean,
I
probably
didn't know
would.
Buddha existed when I was when before I was
Right, right.
15.
I mean, I don't know how much of that like lasted. I do feel like it got expressed in other ways, right? Like I don't think anything really dies, just like Ashra might have been suppressed. I think that you suppress so much and you put so much pressure that it has to come up in other ways, and it just popped up in Yahweh. So I think that there's a possibility, similarly in other cultures, those different adaptations happened as things got reorganized, changed, as the patriarchy and misogyny
Mm,
kind of pummeled like female autonomy and things of that nature. Mother got expressed in different ways, and maybe Tammuz, and because I'm thinking Inanna because she was also a mother,
mm-hmm,
but those two gods came into some other religion or combined or just stolen attributes of them. Now, today, people probably are worshiping those gods, I'm certain, as it was done back then, thousands of years ago. I mean, I don't know how much, but I love. Hey, there's a religion. Damn, I can't even think of the name of it, but it's reignited Canaanite religion, and I love the book. It's actually in my favorites list, which you can find in my
mm-hmm.
profile of my YouTube if anybody's interested. But it's called The Horned Altar, and it just explains like what the Canaanites used to believe, what was significant in their practices and rituals, and
Yeah,
even how some of it was adapted into the Bible. So it's really cool, interesting stuff. So yeah, there's continuations. Are they original, like traditional? I don't know.
I feel like the whole Bible is Canaanite. I feel like
Dude,
it
like
all started as
from the
Canaan.
1200 BCE up till like when the temple fell. Dude, I think that's all Canaanite stuff. I'm not saying that that's not where Judaism sprang from there, I believe, but
No,
it's kind of unfortunate how like people demonize all the Canaanite thought when it's like that's what's in the Bible. It's just been redacted. It's been edited. They whitewashed it. They took it all out and made it pretty for you. But I'm giving you all the evidence you need to see where it came from.
mm-hmm. I
Trying to.
just think I have a hard time um, believing. Okay, I am a polytheistic. I just have a hard time accepting that all of these gods, because the people say that a lot of them were fused. They're all the same god. Like the fusion between Baal and Yahweh too. Like that was a thing or is a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like, and then if you really think about it, like Yahweh had a thing for mountains and stuff, and wasn't Cain and his lineage of people working with what the hell is that called?
What, the agriculture? Like,
No,
sorry.
I can't think of it right now, but they did something to worship Yahweh, and he was part of. And I don't know. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna text it to you because it's really interesting to me. Because in that sense, it would be Baal, but then you had Yahweh, who was also part of it, and it's like, aren't they the same? So that means they would be the same God, and if they are the same God, then that would mean that I don't know. I'll look into it and I'll let you know. But I thought I had it in my head, but it's just all gone now. But yeah, like I believe I am a polytheistic and I believe in multiple gods. I just it's weird to me how so many gods exist and then some were fused, in stories. But was it really? And yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but I think it's interesting. I think that mythology in general is a hot mess. And if it's still going on today and people cling to it, it's obviously for a reason. Um, People are just that's just how people work. That's just how people live, I guess.
Yeah,
They
they're
cling to
conditioned.
stories and make them realistically possible and beneficial because a lot of these stories do benefit. I mean,
I mean, they can do if you have a good moral system, like then I think that you can read the Bible and differentiate from how you should behave, how you versus how you shouldn't. Instead, they impose those moral standards that they're reading into the Bible that they want to pull from the Bible and then
mm-hmm.
implementing rules and regulations according to it. But that's really not necessary. I mean, like people, the misconception and like the anachronistic part of it is people feel like the Torah, this like thing goes all the way back to like 1200 BCE, right? And the fact of the matter is that Torah didn't probably get put together until like again sometime after temple fell, the first temple fell. It's not as old as people want to think and put into it. It's man's creation of ancient stories, and it's beautiful for that reason, but not because it's true. It's literature.
Yeah.
It's not historical.
Um,
And on that note,
I was just thinking about the presidents for some reason. Like I was thinking about how you can consider them. I don't know if the mic is picking up my voice out back there, but I don't know. You can consider the presidential debate as, or just history as a freaking story. A lot of people talk about the good the presidents have done, but nobody knows what's happened behind the scenes to really rectify or to really back up the claims of them being such great people.
it's a crafted story, right? It's biased, it's propaganda. And a lot of the Bible is absolutely propaganda. And if a story is ever only told from one point of view, babes, it's propaganda. I hate to tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but we all want to believe in something. I want to believe that I can have a taco guy delivery
I want
come up at
that.
my front door right now,
Can
but
I
it's
come?
not gonna happen because I have to do something about it. It can't just come to me.
Yeah.
There are
You have
steps
to.
involved.
Mm-hmm.
There's which path though? Are you talking to me or are you talking somebody else? Um, but I mean, yes, Dan, I get it. You could consider them all fairy tales, but then again, I mean, I would love if Santa was real because I would like to.
Get gifts.
No, not that, but I would love to see who he's married to if she's smoking hot. Like there are things
Probably is.
that you want to
Juice
believe in
booty.
because it makes you feel good. I
Got
don't know.
gifted.
Like if the chick from if Elsa was real, man, that'd be cool. Freaking throwing freaking icicles at people.
I mean, it would be cool.
I mean, the Bible could be considered a fairy tale, sure, because there's a lot of things that don't make sense, in a human standpoint and an imperfect person standpoint.
And they've been edited so much.
But we all live in a fairy tale because, like I said, Donald Trump could be this great guy, but he's probably just. I mean, we all know, and that's a poor example because we all know he's just
Weird as
idiot.
fuck. Gives
But
me the ick.
we're all living in a fairy tale because a lot of things that we do are
Oh, everything's orchestrated, bro. Like this is all
impossible.
fucking circus, and we are all fucking part of the goddamn act.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sirree.
Just trying to freaking survive.
Yo, somebody's cooking and it smells really good.
I'm hungry.
But I hope that we somehow, I wouldn't say we stuck to the script because we did it, but I just hope that we at least informed you about something.
Hopefully, we
Uh,
made it a little bit interesting.
yeah.
I mean,
I
we've given you some names to look into if you're interested. Adonis, Melkart, Baal, um,
Marduk.
Does Marduk die? I can't remember. But anyway, you
I'm
can
not
do.
sure.
He's a cool
I
guy.
just know about Marduk's name and
Tammuz.
I want to say it. Baal, Tammuz. I mean,
And Adonis, Adonai. Hello, like
oh, true. Yeah.
what? And in the Bible, God gets called Baal, and they're like, oh, well, that's because it means Lord. Like, nah, bro, you're not getting every. And I'm not saying every instance means that they're saying that Yahweh is Baal, but it's the fact that they're using Baal's name when he still is an active being worshipped God, right? So that could be confusing to people. So it's like all intentional.
Um, I would like to know the difference between Baal, Yahweh, Allah,
Yeah.
because I mean we all know that Allah is God to them, but like,
Yeah.
is
It's L.
is
That's how, I mean, Eloah.
El Yahweh Baal Allah? I would love to have
They
a
just have their
conversation
own
on that.
stories for him.
I know because I'm arguing with somebody right now, but arguing with this person for like 2 days on the God of the Old Testament and the difference between the God of the New Testament, Marcionism, and all that stuff. And
Mm.
this guy is really going at it with the whole Jehovah this, Jehovah that, and it's annoying. But I'm just giving him my not my 2 cents because I'm not mean or anything, but I'm trying to help him, and it'd be awesome if we get a conversation on that, and I can help others who are probably thinking the same thing because I know Ryan and I don't believe in Jehovah. Some people who follow us do. And it'd be great if we have a full conversation on that because literally the entire world follows and worships Jehovah, whether they call him Jehovah or not. But in Christian, or basically in all Orthodox, they believe that the God of this world is Jehovah. And
Uber.
they're all wrong for it. But it'd be great to have a conversation on it.
I just would like to know, like, I don't get the whole, like, where was he like thousands of years ago when Marduk was around? Like, what is what is your explanation for that? I don't understand the logic. Anyway, that's another we can have a whole nother discussion on that.
Yes, we'll have another discussion next week. I want to pull up what we're going to talk about because I have no idea.
Oh, next week's show?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't even know. Whoopsies.
Yeah, I haven't been on YouTube in a minute. There's like Wally's posting videos, Panda Tower. I haven't watched any of them. All right. Let's see here. La, 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 la. Hey, hey, hey. Share the screen.
Goodbye.
All right. Oh, you changed the banner? Was it changed? Was it always like that?
It was always like that. We need a new
Oh.
one. I don't. We got to put something up there, like
Is
faces.
this
I was thinking of putting faces up there.
is this the XJW committee going through the narrow gate?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Well, at least you
Um,
got it.
and I like how it's a yellow brick road too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm. I
That's
got
exactly
brains. I got something up there.
that's exactly what I was going for, but I don't know that if that it's being conveyed, and I don't know. I'm not good at this stuff. I don't know how to market myself. I don't know how to market a channel. Like I just want to be me, but you have to do so much like in the PR part that I'm not I'm not really
I
great
know you're
at.
fine. I
Not
mean,
really. My
if you
channel
have,
doesn't grow. This channel hasn't grown much. I'm struggling.
hey, that's okay. It takes time. I mean, I'm only at 1,900 subscribers after a year. Nobody wants to listen to me all the time. But
It's see, that's I mean, that's about how I'm going. So I feel your pain. But you're a man. I like all the guys who make content like after I've made content, they always do well. I don't know if it's just
I don't know. I mean, women can do a lot. I mean, you know how many
I don't
Fortnite
know. A
players are
lot of women do
women?
well, but not me.
Uh,
A lot of the
not too sure.
guys XJWs just go zoop.
Yeah, and what it is because our sexy voice.
That's what it is.
It's what it is. No, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll one day just do ASMR Bible
I've
reading.
been thinking about doing ASMR.
ASMR Bible reading.
Yeah.
And God said, "Let there be light." I don't know. Just like so. Yes, there you go. I'll just start scratching the mic. um. Oh my god, the sound effects. I don't even have your face on the screen, and that's all I hear, and it just sounds worse.
I'm sorry.
All right, so confession, I have seen sexy videos like that before. Just saying. It's pretty
Sex
cool.
videos?
No, sexy videos.
Sexy. Sexy.
Yeah, you know, like the microphone and the touching and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like some ASMR. I might listen to some tonight now that we've talked about it.
I have used it to fall asleep too because I've had nights
Hmm.
where I can't sleep and
On
I've
planes, I love it
mm-hmm.
on a plane because it just keeps my mind off of anything like going on.
Right. This is this a little
Yeah.
far out? Oh no, it is in 5 days. Okay. Unveiling the Mother Goddess, Asherah.
It's
This is
Monday, so that's our
Ryan's.
oh gosh, so this is I probably should prepare.
I'm
And you
just gonna
guys should
stay
go like
quiet the whole time that day.
no. No, I want it to be conversations. Like I want it to be us discovering and asking questions together and stuff. It's
Like today, right? Today was pretty cool.
yeah, I enjoyed
We
this.
talked a lot today.
We did
We went
a whole lot
from talking
about a
about
lot.
deja vus to me watching sexy ASMR videos. If you're
We just
and
said,
nobody has left either. Like the count is still the same.
yay, we have an audience.
All right. So that's for next week, you guys.
Yeah, make sure you
Um,
stay tuned.
yep. And what? Can you name the barren woman who had in the love
Sarah
wedge?
and was it Rach? No,
But I
Rachel?
don't even
No,
know.
I don't remember. I had
Um.
one.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining, for watching, for sticking around, and for
Yeah.
believing in our nonsense. And we appreciate you guys for not criticizing or talking crap because, especially me, I don't know a lot of shit. So I
Dude,
appreciate that
stop.
you guys are kind.
You're too critical. You're like hypercritical on
Oh
yourself.
my gosh, I just am because especially now that I have a freaking YouTube and I have a following, like I gotta like live up to the name. It's hard.
No, people followed you because they like you and they like your authenticity. So just
Even if
always be
even if I'm
authentic.
like Forrest Gump or whatever and I don't know what I'm saying.
Yes, because we all have our own perspective, and that is what makes us special.
You should be my therapist one day.
I gave you a little Mr. Rogers love.
There you go. All right, guys. I love you guys. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, are we doing Tuesday
Monday.
night?
I'm sorry, Monday.
No,
Yes,
that's
Monday.
I just was like, oh, are we switching it up? That's fine. That
And all
works.
right. No, I mean Monday works and Tuesday night works too. I mean, it's all up to the fan base and you. I don't care.
Well, we'll shoot for Monday morning. If something comes up, be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll check you guys out. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye byes.
Bye. Are
I'll
you
hang up. I'll hang the
okay? I was
phone.
gonna say, are you gonna end it?
Peace out, guys.